Show you real quickly how to do a action drawing in the style of Keith Haring. Hopefully you watched that story about him. He was famous for making these very simple drawings of people in motion. So here's what I want you to try. I'm going to use a bunch of different just regular markers. You could use crayons too if you wanted. When we're drawing them, we want to draw our person with a circle head that's colored in solid. If you noticed in the book, all of Keith Haring's people are always one solid color. Sometimes they might have a pattern on them, but they're usually pretty solid in color. So there's a solid green circle. I'm going to do a rectangle body. Okay, and again, just color that in nice and solid. And then let's think about different ways that your arms bend. You've got two parts of your arm. You've got the part that goes from your shoulder to your elbow, and then from your elbow to your wrist. So let's try that. Let's see. We're going to go shoulder to elbow for one line and elbow to wrist for the next line. That's going to give me one turn right there, kind of like the letter V. Okay, I'm going to make it nice and thick, even add a little circle hand on there at the bottom. Let's think about what this hand can do. Maybe this one's going to come up and then over. So shoulder to elbow, elbow to hand, thicken it up. Think about what your legs could do. Let's see. Hip to knee, knee to foot. Thicken that up, and a foot's going to be a little bit longer. It's going to be a little bit more like an oval. Hip to knee, knee to foot. That one looks like the letter V, doesn't it? Okay, thicken that one up and add a foot. Now, when I do these drawings, I like to switch colors every time, just so I've got a bunch of different ideas in here. And I also like to turn my paper. You don't have to turn your paper if you don't want to, but I always like to turn my paper because I feel like I can fit a lot more people in there. Now, if you're having a really hard time with the elbows and legs issue about getting that one turn, because you know you've only got one turn in your arm, you've only got one elbow, you can do straight arms and straight legs, but think about different directions that they could go, okay? Like if this person is obviously celebrating something, they got their arms up in the sky, okay? Maybe he's kicking his leg out behind him over here. Hooray! Maybe they're like jumping on a trampoline. Okay, so you can do it with just straight lines, but you'll notice he doesn't look nearly as action-packed as this guy who's got his arms and legs bent. Let's see, I'm going to draw one more. If you drew them a little bit smaller, you could definitely fit a bunch of Keith Haring style figures inside of here. It just will take a little bit longer, but it would totally be worth it. Now, there's lots of different things that you can do after you fill up your paper full of these action kind of things. Let's see, I'm going to make him look like he's kind of Spider-Man-ish. Okay, he's going to look like he's climbing the wall a little bit. Okay, I'm going to get his legs bending here. Thicken those up. See what I'm talking about? He looks like he's climbing the wall, right? Okay, so once you've got some, action characters drawn in there, there's lots of different things you can come and do. One thing that I like to do is I like to trace around my characters. And I leave like a little gap in between them because I think it makes them look really cool when they've got this space in between the character and the first color. Then I kind of just go around them with repeating colors. Makes them look really cool, and I just keep repeating as they get bigger and bigger. You could also go around with them and put pattern kind of lines. So you could go around and do things like add dotted lines around them just to make some more variety inside of your drawing, a little more interest. Starts making things look really exciting. Another thing that we've talked about a lot in my class is how to add action lines into things. So you could do things like you see in cartoons where you add action lines, kind of like this, but you could also come around and you could add different kinds of active lines, like zigzags and squiggles and spirals and all of those types of lines around your picture so that you fill up the whole space with all kinds of different active lines. That's going to give your drawing the feeling of action also, and that's kind of what we're working on with this. That's what Keith Haring was really all about, was about creating this fun, lively, active feeling inside of his artwork. Okay, I know sometimes in writing we talk about that verbs are what activate our characters. Okay, they make them start doing something. That's what you can do with these lines, is you can activate your characters instead of them just standing with their arms and legs straight down. When you start adding them bending their arms and legs, or even swinging their arms and legs in different directions, you start giving more activity to your drawings. Give it a try, and I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about Keith Haring.